It's been a long time since I've uploaded to YouTube, almost 3 years actually, and I really do want to get back into it. It's just super time consuming. And I really hate doing the voiceovers. It's kind of the worst part. Usually I don't record the things I do for customers simply because they're really boring projects in most cases, usually variations of different boxes and integrated furniture that's just not that interesting. But this time a customer approached me wanting a 10-digit Cryptex, and I figured that was perfect for YouTube. Of course, when I took on the contract, I didn't quite understand how difficult this would be to make. The whole mechanism needs to function really well while being quite compact, and a ring has to fit inside. The rings of the Cryptex need to spin on this aluminum tube that needs to be properly round, which it currently isn't. Here I'm putting water on the wood arbor to expand it so the aluminum holds in place, which ended up working really well. The code rings are made of wood wedges that are glued in a circle. This might not look like much, there's plenty of very talented woodworkers on YouTube that do this with their eyes closed. I'm just not one of them. This was a good reminder for why I don't like turning bowls on the lathe. Luckily, the final result was acceptable. Once the rings were brought to their final dimension, I made sure they were completely flat. Due to humidity, the middle hole needs to be just the right size. If it's too big, the whole mechanism is going to be sloppy and nothing's going to work right. And if it's too small, it will bind up with humidity, which can be a big problem with these mechanical systems made of wood. The rings have 9 indentation notches so that they can be located as they spin, and one larger notch that has to be aligned for the whole mechanism to open. Here is my favorite jig, affectionately named, I sure hope the pliers don't end up in the path of the blade and wreck everything. It's an iconic staple of questionable engineering to try to hit deadlines in time. But the results do speak for themselves. For the finish, I went for a brand that I have a personal vendetta against. The only time this finish works is on really tiny pieces. I'm really not a fan. The spring detent mechanism is used to keep the rings aligned with the 10 numerical positions. The detent mechanism is composed of 10 springs with 10 little wooden caps on them that locate in the notches in the rings. One of the holes was off-center, so I made an off-center bushing to be able to re-drill it on-center. The aluminum tube needs to be cut in half, and let me tell you, this method was not it. I was rushing for the deadline, but honestly, I should have taken the time to make a proper jig that wouldn't be super shaky and sketchy. The problem is, this tube can't be clamped down. It's far too thin, and it would become oval if I did that. The customer agreed that I make the end caps in my own fashion that doesn't follow the Da Vinci Code style, and I have to say, I really do like it. I wish I could tell you this was the first time I was putting the rings on, but it really wasn't. The system was quite finicky. I had to adjust the spring pressure as well as adjusting the little wooden caps so that they would flow over the detents just right to not bind up. This operation worked so well, I gave it a little nickname. Though I have been thinking of buying a mill, it would be really nice. Using the mill to cut the teeth on the comb was a stroke of genius. It saved me so much filing time. And maybe I don't need a mill after all. The mechanism is quite simple. If the teeth on a locking comb align with the larger notches in the rings, the locking comb and the core it's attached to can simply slide out and reveal the ring. And the locking detent is simply there to make sure that everything stays aligned as you click through the numbers. It's a simple mechanism, but getting everything to work and everything to work well in a compact form factor was actually quite difficult. I don't have on camera every single time I tried and retried to make parts that didn't work, but it really was a headache. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like more content, you can support me on Patreon or by buying one of the tools I make. The link for all that is in the description, and if you'd like more content, I also post on Instagram quite a bit.